Hi guys, welcome to part 3 of our little Frankenstein beanie for ages 3 to 10 years approximately. In my last video, in part 1, I showed you how to make the bulk of the hat, the main hat. In this video, I'm showing you how to make the bolts, and I've got one here that I made earlier, and these will be sewn onto the ear flaps as well. So let's show you how to make these. And you're going to need, again, sorry for the background creaking noise, it's very, very windy at the moment. We've got the tail end of a hurricane that's come over from the Caribbean way, East Coast of America way. Okay, so to make these bolts, we're going to be using some DK light worsted weight yarn this time. This is a yarn weight of 3, so I've chosen a grey colour. This is actually Happy Berry Snuggles baby yarn. It's in silver, so we're going to be using that. We're going to be using a 3mm crochet hook, and it's a good idea to have a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and also you're going to need a little bit of toy stuffing as well, or you can use yarn scraps as well for stuffing the bolt. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so the first thing to do is let's take our yarn, and we're going to chain 4 to begin. So we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to slip stitch into our first chain to form a loop. So we find our first chain, put our hook in there, bring the yarn through, then straight through the loop on our hook, and that creates a little loop of chains joined at the beginning and the end, in which the middle you should be able to see a tiny little hole, not to confuse it with the chain one. There it is in the middle, and into there we need to work 10 double crochet. This is in US terminology. So yarn over and put your hook into the middle of your little loop, a little bit fiddly at the beginning, bring the yarn through and work a double crochet as normal. We need 10 of these. Alternatively, you can, if you enjoy using the magic circle, you can work 10 double crochet into a magic circle as well. So there's 1, go back into the middle, 2, we need 10 of these. Some more yarn. Through. And if you can't see the centre hole, a good idea is to just place your hook into the centre roughly and just push, and your hook should find the hole. And we're just working these double crochets around the chain, so it doesn't matter how many chains we got now. Just need to make sure we got 10 double crochets wrapped around our little loop of chains. Seven, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 and 10, and then all we want to do is to slip stitch, put our hook into the first double crochet, bring the yarn through and do a slip stitch to join the round. You can pull the tail end to close the hole if there's a little hole. So by the end of the first round you should have 10 double crochet, whether you've worked them around a chained loop or in a magic circle. What we want to do now is we want to chain 2, 1 and 2. We want to count that as a stitch. Then we want to do a double crochet in the same double crochet that we slip stitched into. So where we slip stitched before, I want to put our hook back into there and do a double crochet. So we've effectively got an increase in there of 2 double crochets. We're counting our chain 2 as a double crochet as well. Then in the next stitch we want to do 2 double crochet. So we do 1 and then go back into the same stitch and do another one. So you've got 2 in there. So you've got 2 double crochet in the next stitch. I want to do 2 double crochet in each stitch around back to the beginning. So we end up with a stitch count of 20, including our chain 2. So we do 2 in the next one, 2 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 in there, 2 in the next one, 2 in the next one, 2 in the next one, so I'm just doing 2 double crochet in each stitch around back to the beginning. 2 in there, 2 in the next one, small yarn, 2 in the next one, then 2 in the last one. And it always looks like there's another stitch. It can do anyway. Looks like, whoops, look like there's another stitch there, but that's what I call a fake stitch, which I've sometimes mentioned before. But we can check our stitch count: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 and 20 is the top of our 2 chains, and we know that's a fake stitch trying to trick us. Next to that is our 2 chain. There's our first one and there's our second. So into that second one, and not our first stitch, make sure it's the actual second chain, we want to work a slip stitch to join the round, like so. So by the end of round 2 you should have 20 stitches. Okay, then for round 3 we chain 2 at the beginning, and this time we're not going to go into the top of our 2 chain where we slip stitch. We're going to go into that proper first stitch and do 1 double crochet by itself, just 1, and we're going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch around, so just 1 by itself in each stitch. So there's 1 in there, 1 in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch. So you're still keeping a stitch count of 20. Okay, so just 1 double crochet in each stitch around back to the beginning. Okay, it's just coming up to the last double crochet, like so, and then we find our 2 chain, 1 and 2, and we're going to slip stitch into that second one. And like I always do, is I go under 2 bits of yarn at the top, and then underneath there's 1, so I'm actually going through something, and do a slip stitch, like so. And what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to round 4, and the sun's coming out, so I'm going to have to adjust the lighting. Okay, so moving on to round 4, we're going to chain 2 to begin, and what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet 2 stitches together pretty much all the way around to the last stitch. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go into that first stitch as normal, bring the yarn through, yarn over and pull through 2 as if doing a normal double crochet, but we stop there and then we yarn over again and go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 there as well. So we're left with 3 loops, then we yarn over, pull through all 3. That double crochets 2 stitches together. You can see it just creates 1 stitch. We're going to do that again and again and again until we get to the last stitch. So we go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 and stop, yarn over into the next stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, that double crochets the next 2 together, then again to the next stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, stop, yarn over, always must remember to yarn over, to the next stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, you end up with 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so keep doing that until you get to the last stitch. Almost there. So we've got 3 left. Yarn over, double crochet the next 2 together. Then that leaves us with our 1 stitch. So when you get to this last stitch, we're going to do something unusual because we need to get a stitch count of 10 as we reduce back down to 10. But because we chain 2 at the beginning, it makes it hard to double crochet 2 together. So we've got the last stitch. What we do is we yarn over, go into the last stitch, bring the yarn through, yarn over, pull through 2 like you have been before, but then stop. And what we're going to do, don't yarn over, we're not going to yarn over, we're literally going to find our 2 chain, 1 and 2, and in that second one, top of our 2 chain, put our hook through, grab the yarn over, bring it through, and then bring it straight through the other 2 loops. So you're kind of effectively doing double crocheting 2 together with a slip stitch involved all at the same time, but it does decrease your chain 2 and that last double crochet down to 1 as well. So you should have a stitch count of 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 rounds of chain 2, then 1 double crochet in the next stitch, in that first stitch. And because it's a bit smaller to work with, I find it easier to flatten the work, but just make sure you don't work through the back stitches as well. Do 1 double crochet in that next stitch. We're going to do 1 double crochet in each stitch around, so we've still got a stitch count of 10. It's so creaky. It just makes it more spooky for Halloween. So 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and because we count our chain 2 as a double crochet, we can just count to 10. So chain 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, 5, 6, 7, 8, let's do 8, 9, and the last one 10. It helps to count, then you know where you get to the end. Just make sure you count that chain 2 as a stitch as well. So when you get to 10, there's our fake stitch trying to trick us, but we know we've got 10 because we counted, and we just need to slip stitch into the top of our 2 chains. There's the first chain, there's the second. Just going to put our hook in there and do a slip stitch. Apparently I've read that this wind, although it's not as bad as the hurricane, we get obviously the energy in the hurricane burns out when it gets to the UK, but some people have died down south where it's been worse, so that's really sad. Anyway, moving on to the last round, it's the same again. We chain 2, 1 and 2, and we do 1 double crochet in each stitch around again, so we just keep a stitch count of 10. So making sure we count our chain 2 as a stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we know we got to the end, we've got 10, so we know that's a little fake stitch there, and then we just slip stitch in the top of our 2 chain, 1 and 2, and then we finished our bolt. Like so. It should look a little something like that. Then leaving a little bit of tail for sewing, cut your yarn, then getting some toy stuffing. Not sure how much we need, probably about, see how we go. I've just used, this is actually inside of a pillow, it's just 100% polyester stuffing inside a pillow, children's pillow, I think it's a cot pillow. And taking some scissors, or as somebody else recommended, you can use the end of your crochet hook. They seem to prefer to use that, which is fine, so whatever works best for you. Take your stuffing and your stuffing implement. I use scissors because it creates, the metal of the scissors create a really good grip for easy stuffing, but it can be a little bit more dangerous for younger viewers, so if you prefer to use the end of your crochet hook, that's absolutely fine. And then just basically stuff your little bolt until you're happy with it. I'm going to add a little bit extra just in the middle bit there. Okay, so when you've finished stuffing, we just need to sew these onto, just going to pull that through to finish that off. There we go. You want to repeat that, all those steps to make another bolt, so you've got 2, and then we just need to sew them onto our hat. So what I'm going to do is taking your yarn needle again, thread on your yarn, and we want to sew this onto the ear section, okay, ear flap. And to do that, we're going to find the middle of our flap roughly. Just place that in the middle, and first thing to do is just slightly off center. We're going to sew, and then holding that in place, we'll come from behind, then going into a stitch, the next stitch there. She'll just pull that nice and tight. Then going into the next stitch over, we're then going to go back down through the ear flap and just continue this around, so come back through the flap from the back, then through this next stitch, over to the next stitch, then down, like so, then again just come from the back to the next stitch, then through the next stitch down. And when you sew into the green, it's going to get caught. When you sew into the green, try and sew in a circle in a nice circle rather than just really close in the middle, because you want to get a nice spacing. And then come back. Where are we up to? So up to about there. Let's come back through. Green. So the next stitch on there. And then I think we're pretty much there. Go over to the next stitch and then down. Like so, and you may just want to come up again near the beginning, just to fix into place, and then down on the next one. There we go, so that's nice and secure and in the centre of your ear flap. So if we have a look, it's a little something like that, and you can of course shape it as well, so it keeps its shape. And then you just want to hide your tail end on the inside. So just, whoops, knocking the camera, do apologise. So just sew a couple of stitches, and then you can just cut the excess off. And then all you got to do is repeat that for the other side. So I'm going to do that, repeat it for the other side, and then I'll show you the finished hat. Okay, so there we go. I've finished sewing on the other bolt, the other side. And as you can see, I've just put this on my small ladies head size mannequin. As you can see, it's a little bit stretched because this hat is designed for 3 to 10-year-olds and not for small ladies or teens. But I wanted to put it on here just so you can see where the ear flaps cover. And there we go, so finished our Frankenstein head. Our Frankenstein head hat beanie thing. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Sorry again for last Friday's mishap. I'm really hoping I'm not going to have the same problem this week. Hopefully by December all my uploading problems will be sorted when we hopefully get super fast broadband. So, but I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and like I always say, I think it's like my thing I say at the end now, hope you managed to follow along, which I do mean, and I will see you soon for some more crochet fun. Cheers for watching guys, happy Halloween, bye!